Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Strife's Sanctum podcast. My name is Citizen Strife, and this week I'm going to get into the second ever Mega May with Mega Man 2. And Mega Man 2 is widely considered the best one, or at least usually regarded as the best one. And having rewatched it and having replayed it, I can agree. The thing for me is I've always been more of a Mega Man X guy. That's something I mentioned way back, was how I got into Mega Man X. Mega Man proper is a bit slower of a thing for me, and I think not having a dash function until, the slide came into existence, or having an X Buster, always just felt a little, okay, I'm a little off. I'm not quite getting it. But there is still, for, I'd say, the first, well, maybe not the first Mega Man game, but 2 through, I'd say, 5, 7 to an extent, though 7 has its own issues, and obviously, 8. But that 2 through 5, or even 2 through 4, are just kind of like the Mega Man games. The more that I go back and re-experience them and everything like that, seeing what I missed and doing that sort of thing, they're hard enough without being insufferable, because some platforming games to me, and I've said this before, I'm not the best platformer at all. So every time I try to go back, I tried to go back and play Mega Man X a year ago and was just scared shitless. I can barely play Mario sometimes these days. Kirby I can get through, I think. But for me, Mega Man is that perfect difficulty of, hey, this is hard, but it's manageable. And especially with Mega Man having, for Americans, we have the stupid difficulty, or at least there's the difficult one and then there's the normal. Because I know that, okay, there is a little bit of a leeway there for us, but it's more about, how do all the disparate elements, you know what a Mega Man game is? You jump, you shoot, you jump, you shoot. Robot Masters, go. What plot is there? Oh no, Dr. Wily created more machines, let's go. Or Sigma created more machines, let's go. The awkward times where maybe they're not the bad people, or maybe, somebody else is somehow the bad guy, it's different. But by and large, you know what a Mega Man is. You know how to do a Mega Man game. So it's all about the Robot Masters and all about the fun junk. So whenever I do this, I always kind of go via the Robot Masters and kind of see what their stages or their music was like. And a lot of it was stage-based. Because for me, I think as good as the music was, there's 2 songs that everybody knows. 2 songs that always stand out. So I'm not going to focus on the music as much anymore. The opening theme is just great. The build-up is perfect. And it's just, oh god. And then, obviously, Dr. Wily Stage 1 and 2. For some reason, they changed it to something else later. But at least we got Dr. Wily Stage 1. Good. God, those songs are good. Again, every other song is great, but I can't put anything, to me, I can't put anything as good as those. But I did feel that, the songs were fine. I just felt that the stages themselves, really what Mega Man 2 does, is it got away from, how would I describe it? Mega Man 1 had this weird fascination with, white bars for platforms and steps and buildings, and it didn't look really unique, and a lot of the stages just looked bleh. At least with this game, everything felt like different stages. They took what they knew from the first game, and it's almost like a band figuring out its sound. Mega Man 2 is great. And it also helps that they ended up including one of the most broken weapons in the history of ever, which I want to talk about later. But we'll talk about things in stages, and I'll talk about every stage and what my general thoughts were. Airman, I remember Airman because of the weird pig statues with the needles on the sides. The clouds covering up the platforms scared the shit out of me because I'm not really a fan. I'd say Sonic is worse when it comes to flying stages because of the speed at which he's there. Mega Man, not as bad, but I'm still just leery of any stage that has the bottomless pit or air. But it's not so bad. It's just the pig statues. The pig statues and then the flying, rotating platforms. There's not really anything too crazy about it. Airman himself, figure out his pattern of his airstorm bullshit and his jumps, and he's not all that bad. But you get the air shooter, and then you go to Crash Man. Oh, yeah. And so, yeah, Crash Man, vertical. Oh, yeah. Oh, I was trying to remember it based on what my listing said, because I have a primer. Crash Man stage reminded me of Elecman because of the verticality. But the distinct thing with Crash Man is the fact that every time you're going up and up and up, you're going into the sky. And eventually you're actually kind of going into space. So that was what really got me the most, was the design of the area. There's a lot of pipes or a lot of like weird, platforms. But you're just climbing. You're climbing into this and you're doing the thing, and then eventually you're just going into space. You see the Big Dipper and all that fun stuff, and it's kind of neat that you're fighting Crash Man in the sky. But you kill him with air shooter, you avoid his bombs, and then you get to probably the most notorious one. Oh wait, no. Actually, no. Scratch that. We're two away from the notorious one, but Flashman's not so bad. It's just ice physics in lieu of blue crystals, like a mine sort of thing. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but whenever there's a game that doesn't go for ice physics, like an ice level, sometimes they'll go for like a mine level, and they'll just have like nice little sheen of things. And this was just a bunch of mazes. Flashman is just pick a spot, go. And it's pick a direction and you fight a bunch of enemies, or then you get the pure access. Mega Man 2 has a lot of items involved. Like you get the bouncy balloon thing that gives you platforms, or you get the one that's just a straight ride platform, which is great for other levels, but this can also help you too if you want to just cheese the level. I'm all for cheesing levels. I said before in Super Mario World, I'm an abuser of the cape. So anything that gets me to just ride through the level without a problem, I will take. But Flashman gets you a time stopper, and you get through him, and then you get Quickman. And what can I say about Quickman except I hate this stage? Does anybody like this stage? Is anybody good at this stage? I mean, if you've practiced it over and over, but if you get stuck at all, you get no time to do it right. And so Quickman stage, these instant death beams, just go into the stage. Like 4 or 5 instant death beams will close in on you very fast, and you have to pick a direction, usually to the left, but not always, where Mega Man just has to slide on through and hope and pray. And the worst part is you get 2 of those. The stage itself is not very long. It's just those instant death beams scare the shit out of me. I hate instant death. I hate instant death chasing me. I hate instant death pits. I just hate, look, platforming has to have some sort of difficulty spikes and shit, but wow, dude. Quickman is just the heart attack inducing. No. But you get through it. The cool thing with Quickman is if you damage him halfway, you can set it to where Time Stopper kills him. It's kind of hilarious. He just sits there and you stare at him and then he dies. It's kind of nice. So you still have to do some work. You can't just get Time Stop and beat him, but it is kind of funny that's just like, oh, that's how you beat him, is just stand there. Quick man, do. But yeah, instant death beams. Ugh. And Metal Man. Oh yeah. His stage is boring. It's just a bunch of like moving walkways, but his blade is great. Metal blade is broken. Let me count the ways. Goes every single direction. You have a glitch that's involved where you can do like 3 of the attacks, pause the menu, and it resets the charge. If you do 4 metal blades, it counts for 1 little pellet. Not 1 pellet for each shot. It's 4 shots for 1 pellet, and you can recharge it. It's broken. And everybody is almost weak to it, or it's so fucking good that it doesn't matter if you're weak to it. Metal blade is just broken. So they've never made anything like it yet. So instead, they'll give you that weird, stupid stone weapon that, not in this game, but they'll have that stone weapon that kind of circles around the thing and doesn't hit anything. I think it was like in 4 or 5 or something. You'll get weapons like that. So yes, we had Metal Blade back in Mega Man 2, and then we had the stone circled thing, which didn't do shit. But Bubble Man, what a chump. The problem with Bubble Man is his stage, because it's a lot of spikes. And oh yeah, and opening the stage with the waterfall is a dick move. I don't personally have like seizures or issues with that, but the older I get, I have issues with like bright colors. So if I'm at work or something, if like I have a bright purple or a bright neon color or something like that, it can kind of get at me after a while. And I'm not gonna lie, starting up Bubble Man stage with the waterfall, the bright white and bright blue waterfall, is a bit much. And I think people could have, seizure warnings, or could just have issues. I remember calling Super Mario 2 like seizure waterfalls. This is a seizure waterfall, that sort of thing. And it's one of those things, like, you design it sounds cool, it looks cool, and then you realize maybe it's not so cool anymore. But what's worse is the spikes filled with just death, because the whole game of the second half of the stage is just spikes. Not so bad as in Wily stage 2 or 3, where it's just instant death spikes as you fall. But some of the, like, I remember some of the areas have the spikes at the end. Like, you get all the way down, and then you get to the final landing to the rest of the stage, and there's like 2 little fucking spikes just sitting there. And I'm just, why? So, Bubble Man has the spikes at the end of his stage too. So his whole game is to try and hit you with a bubble and then take you up to the spikes. So that's his thing. Oh boy. And you get bubbles, because bubbles are dangerous. Don't let it be said that bubbles don't kill. Bubbles killed Flame Stag, that could kill everybody else. But Heat Man, his whole thing is the end of his stage has fire, and then the Yoku blocks and the boop, boop, boop. So you get the instant death pit and the lava for a long time. You can use one of the items to just careen past, rather than use the Yoku blocks, which is kind of nice. Heat Man is weird because he can kind of change his weapon style. Piss him off and he just runs through the stage really fucking quick. And you can actually charge his weapon. I did not know that. I forgot you could do that. But you can turn Mega Man into a pissed off fireball like Kirby. And then Woodman is wood, I guess. He's a tree, I guess. He's not as bad as Plant Man, because nothing's as dumb as Plant Man, but yeah, Woodman, Leaf Shield, really broken. I love Leaf Shield, but Woodman, it's coated in metal. Okay, whatever. It's wood. It's leaves. It's dumb. But then you get to Dr. Wily stage, and the music is awesome, and it's great. You got to scale the outer wall first, but then you deal with the Mecha Dragon. more instant death shit, but he's throwing fireballs at you. Wily Stage 2. What was this one? Oh, yeah, it was this guy. You get through the stage with a lot of spikes and drills and crap, and then you do, it was the guy that takes two of the... You fall in this, like, little purple pit, like a pink pit or something, and then these two things... careen together, and then they come after you. It's called Pico Kun, I think, which is a weird name for. I guess I'm guessing it has some Japanese connotation, but whatever. You shoot them, and then the stage. What I'm grateful for is that the stage doesn't have instant death pits. Like once the things break away, that would have been terrible. That would have sucked, but no, it's just a bunch of flying dudes. It's not that hard. Dr. Wily Stage 3, more vertical death pits and split paths and underwater spikes. Hooray! And then you fight the Guts Dozer. Just shoot him. He's done. And Dr. Wily Stage 4 is a bunch of platforming and spikes. And it's waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. But it's home to the bullshit boss, which is called Boob Beam. Is that what they call it? Boob Beam Trap? That's what I wrote down just to make sure. But, yeah, the trick with him is you have a certain number of bombs and you have a certain number of traps shooting you. And you have just enough, so you have to do it right and you have to shoot enough of the crash bomb walls and enough of the traps to blow them up. No other thing can beat them. No other thing can stop them. It's kind of a puzzle in it because the boss itself is not all that challenging because all it does is shoot at you. But it's still, I mean, good on them. But I don't know if anybody really likes that boss. I'd rather have the Mecha Dragon. At least he's shooting at me. Boss rush. I don't like boss rushes. I think it's lazy. I kind of like how Mega Man 1 and Mega Man X1 handle boss rushes, where it feels like the stages are actually stages in a way, and the bosses are kind of there, but they're not. Like, I would prefer it. I understand the catharsis of beating the bosses again, and it's become a staple, so I can kind of agree that, oh, it's tradition, it's whatever. But you see that stuff, and it's just like, oh, here's the 8 capsules, and you go into the 8 capsules, and then you heal up, and then you what? I would prefer it if there was a little more nuance. So I just don't really like the 8 stages, and you kill the bosses again. It's just not a thing, and I'll probably say that every single time, but whatever. It's a personal preference. But Dr. Wily does his thing. But then Dr. Wily does his thing again, but turns into an alien. And he's dead because of bubble lead. Don't ask me why. The alien floats around and tries to shoot you or run into you, and he's dead by bubbles. And it turns out it's a hologram, and Dr. Wily gets defeated again, and stuff blows up and everything else. And it's like, bubbles. The strongest weapon that's not Metal Blade. Don't ask me. But by and large, what's Mega Man 2? Better than Mega Man. It's a staple. And despite some of my issues with some of the stages here and there, I can't sit here and just say, oh, it's bad. No, it's great. It's Mega Man 2. It's got the best songs in the entire franchise. 2 of them, in fact, in the same game. I can't complain about that. The best weapon in the game, some of the dumber weapons and some of the dumber bosses, but, every Mega Man game has 1 or 2. But really, the jump from Mega Man 1 to Mega Man 2 is so vast, it's not even fair. The fact that everything looks like its own stage and has a lot more versatility, because at this point, Mega Man is staple, and you just add more stuff to it, whether it's rush or beat or roll or auto or other characters, and it's just like, you're adding too much crap. But Mega Man 2 was that jump that the franchise needed, and I think the fact that you can access as many Mega Man games as possible now via the the PS4 and whatever collections and Switch collections and all that. The Legacy collections, hooray! These games deserve credit, and I wish, like, Mega Man itself, like, I know Mega Man 11 was the last one. That feels like so long ago, because it kind of was. But it's like, Mega Man is a staple. Mega Man is stuff we would always get. It would be that, just rest assured, you got a Mega Man game, you get a Mega Man game, you know what a Mega Man game is, have fun. And it would vary here and there. But Mega Man 2 is always regarded as the best, and I can understand why. It's because of that jump in class that it represented. It's like a band figuring out what it's going to be. If its demo or its first album kind of sucked, But would I recommend playing Mega Man 2? Absolutely. I mean, not even a question. But we're going to keep going on with Mega Man. Let me load up I have my phone this time. Look at me being prepared. I am actually prepared to look up what my stuff is. Imagine that. So 1 second, and I've got or I was ready. Here we go. All right, Mega Man 3 next week. So we go from Mega Man 2 to Mega Man 3. Mega Man X3. Mega Man 0. I'm curious about that one, honestly. And then anime, a couple of weeks. After that will be Apothecary Diaries and Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Seasons 1. And then 2 games in June. Theatrhythm, Final Bar Line. The Final Fantasy rhythm game. And, it's so fucking good, by the way. And this one will require me to think through a little bit more, but I'm going to change it. It's going to be gaming related, but it's going to be slightly different tack. It's going to be fishing minigames and JRPGs. So my whole aim here is to come up with like 5 or 10 JRPGs that I've played or will look up if I'm not as familiar with them, and just kind of see where fishing minigames and JRPGs, because there's so many. Some of them are so basic, some of them are very intriguing. Breath of Fire 3, best one. But that's personal preference. And how they change themselves and how they work. So that one will be in late June. But that'll do it for me, and I'll see you guys next time. Citizen Strife, signing off.